What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Registered Dietitian Kara Corey here. I hope you guys are having a great fall so far. I'm here with my little basic cup of coffee. Thanks to Erica, thank you for this mug. And we are gonna get right into it with another little episode that I like to call Bite-Sized Bits. This is where you guys have slid on into my DMs on the social media, and this is a great way for me to answer your questions rapid fire style and hopefully help you guys out with busting some nutrition myths. To make sure you guys don't miss out on me answering your questions for the next Bite-Sized Bits, make sure you follow me here at my Instagram, and you guys can also be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that little post notification bell. That way you guys know each and every time I upload. First question says, I'm currently getting my BS, Bachelor's of Science in Nutrition, and I'm trying to decide if I should continue my education another semester to be eligible for the RD exam and the internship. If I don't want to work in a clinical setting, is it still financially and time-wise worth it to become an RD over a nutritionist? So, yes. I personally, look, here's the thing. Nutritionist is still this word that it's not clearly defined. So the standards are changing for what's required to become a registered dietitian, to sit and take the exam. You do have to take the internship, you have to pass the exam. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics is creating a 4-year program where you don't actually sit for the exam, where you don't get the RD credential, but yet you're still considered a dietitian. So to me, what's still very unclear is that separation of duty. Where does the RD fit in, where the non-RD fit in terms of work duties, in terms of job availability, in terms of pay? It's still all very unclear. It's very, very new. It's a very new change. So even if you're not someone interested in a clinical setting, I think it's important to do the internship, to continue pursuing your education in that department. There are so many different jobs out there available to registered dietitians. Beyond just the clinical setting, there is community, there's education and food service, there's running your own business, there's private practice, there's sales, there's corporate. There are so many different avenues for a registered dietitian. And for me personally, and I may be old school because I've been a dietitian for 10 years, until it's clearly defined where the non-RD credential academics fit into this whole scheme, I would encourage you, if you've come this far, to just continue it and get that credential. I think it'll take you a lot further in your career. All right, next question says, if you're working out late at night, do you advise consuming most of your carbs pre-workout or evenly distributing them throughout the day? That's a great question. I think I definitely, for me personally, I wouldn't say consuming the majority of your carbs pre-workout, because everyone is different for how they perform and how they feel best. Myself in particular, I don't perform the best, regardless if it's morning, noon, or night, with a large meal in me, with a huge consumption of carbs in me right away. I don't feel as good in the gym. I can't perform as well. I'm not as quick. I don't feel as powerful, and my endurance isn't as good. So if you're someone that's up during the day, I would more evenly spread them out. And if you are going to eat your carbs pre-workout, I would suggest having them and allowing yourself at least an hour to digest. Don't eat them and go right to the gym. Eat something more easily digestible, and don't sit there and have a giant bowl of broccoli and cauliflower and things that are a little bit more troublesome to digest. Have something a little bit more easily digestible and give yourself an hour prior to going into your workout. How do you determine if you need/may need more than just a multivitamin? Look, kids, here's the thing. First and foremost, with supplementation, you guys know I take supplements, but you want to try to get anything and everything possible within your diet. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to be able to get in every essential micro and macronutrient, like variety to the max each and every day, right? Or else we'd probably all be eating 4,000 calories to do that. But trying to first take a look at your diet, make sure you can get in as much as possible through the diet, whether it's through the week, looking at your monthly intake even. It doesn't have to be each and every day, but trying to get a variety in of different food groups. Your body is going to best digest, absorb, and utilize vitamins coming from your food versus a supplement. So that's always the first place I want you to look. In terms of consuming a multivitamin, how do you know when you need more than that? Well, if your diet is good and you're taking a multivitamin and you're feeling like you're having some symptoms. Now, symptoms could be endless here. This isn't a quick answer, unfortunately. You could be feeling fatigued. You could be feeling moody, depressed. You could be feeling weak. You could be feeling like your hair is thinning or your nails aren't as strong. There's so many different indicators there for nutritional imbalances. So if you're uncertain, the best thing you could do is go and have some blood work done. Go meet with your doctor, have some fasting blood work done to look at some different levels there and see if you're coming up with any nutrition deficiencies. Otherwise, your diet and a good multivitamin are probably going to do the trick. This person's giving their personal experience that they stopped hitting exact macro targets and instead they switched to hitting a calorie target. But with doing that, their protein is much lower than it's ever been. They just don't feel like they have an appetite anymore for protein, but they're wondering, will I lose all my gains? What are my thoughts on the ability to continue chipping away at body composition on a moderate protein diet, assuming calories are the same? That's a great question. I kind of alluded to this a little bit in my last bite-sized bits, that your actual macronutrient ratios will make an overall difference in your body composition. They will. So you have to figure out what your goals are in terms of, is it weight loss? Is it maintenance? Are you really concerned with how your physique is looking in terms of focusing on a calorie range versus those macronutrient grams and goals? However, I will say with the protein question specifically, she gave me how much protein she's consuming. A lot of us can overconsume protein, and when I say that, I don't mean like it's dangerous for your health, but we do consume more than is necessarily needed for gains. So with the amount that she was saying to consume without knowing her current body weight, but she's saying she dropped it from about 140 grams of protein to 80 grams of protein a day. I honestly don't think you're gonna lose all your gains, but this is where you have to experiment and kind of focus on yourself and see what changes are occurring while you do this. I do think sometimes it is nicer to just focus on a calorie goal. It allows you a bit more flexibility within your day. And like I said, I don't think you're just automatically gonna lose all your gains. I do think that's a misconception. Higher protein can be great to help with fullness and satiety. Studies do support that higher protein intake does assist in weight loss. But if this method is preferred by you to lower the protein, then that's fine too. See how it goes. You will not just automatically lose your gains overnight if you're still going to the gym, you're still training hard. The other part of gains is training and progressive overload. So focusing a bit more on that while making sure your diet is still good, I think you should be all right. This next question says, how to lose fat in a maintainable way? AKA not prepping, not competing, just general life fat loss to get back to a weight I'm comfortable at. I wish there was one simple, quick, and easy answer for this. Me and Mark kind of did some videos discussing this before, what the perfect diet is. I can't remember if it's on my channel or his channel, but that's a good video for you guys to check out. So I would encourage you to take a look at that video. Honestly, it's about finding what works for you. There's no sexy answer for me to give you. There's no magic book I could write and make loads of money off. There's no secret ebook. It's truly looking at what you're doing right now. And it's not just what you're putting in your mouth. There's more to it than that. We know this now. There's more to it than just what we're putting in our mouths. It's about your environment. It's about the stress in your life. It's about your medical history, your genes. There's so many different things that impact your weight and are going to impact your ability to lose weight. A little distracted by my husband dropping ice cream while we're discussing weight loss. Speaking of weight loss, there's so many different things there that are going to impact it. So the simplest tip I can give for you is to, step one, take a look at what you're doing. Take a look at your diet on a day-to-day basis, journal it, track it if you're willing to, really see what you're consuming, really take a hard look at what your activity level is truly like, take a look at your sleep, take a look at all those components, and just get a baseline for where you're at right now. The honest truth here is start making changes based on that. You know, if you see that your calories are really high, or your exercise really isn't producing as much of a calorie expenditure as you had hoped, then work on that. If you know that your sleep is 4 to 5 hours a night, you can focus on that. There's so many different little areas that we can focus on. So find what you're doing now, find out what you could be doing better, and make small changes. That's what's going to be maintainable. That's what's going to help you reach your goals, but it's going to take a little bit longer to get there. So while a competition bodybuilding prep will get you super shredded super fast, it's because we take you to an extreme. So for someone like yourself, just looking to lose weight and maintain it, that's what you need to do. And again, check out the video Mark and I did, because I think it's really good. What is your go-to meal prep on a daily basis? A meal prep that you could eat day in and day out. Interestingly enough, I just posted a meal prep video. You guys can go check that out. I think you'll find it helpful. But in a nutshell, here are my go-tos for work. The basics for me are usually having something super quick for breakfast. I'm like a quick breakfast person. So lately I've been grabbing an outright bar, and a Greek yogurt is truly my go-to. It's quick. I can eat it while I'm driving if I need to, or I can eat it while I'm working at my desk. Lunch for me is almost always some type of lean protein, typically ground turkey or chicken, and I almost always have rice with it, either jasmine rice or something quick and easy like an Uncle Ben's 90-second rice. And then on top of that, I will have some type of vegetable added. And for fat, I usually have avocado, or I'll use a little dressing. That is like my go-to lunch. For dinner, it varies. I usually eat like 3 to 4 times a day. Again, I'll probably have something in the air fryer, lean protein. I might have some sweet potato fries. I might have a veggie burger, try to add in more veggies with some type of grain, or I might have potato. And a lot of times for like a sweet treat at night, my go-to is my ProVitam vegan brownie bowl, or I've been really enjoying Yasso bars. So that's kind of typical for me. I'm just not typical with my eating. I eat different shit every day. I get bored super quick, so I eat different stuff all the time. Can you suggest some vegetarian vegan supplements? Basically any nutrition tips for vegetarians who want to build muscle and burn fat. ProVitam vegan protein, best protein on the market, link in the description. That was so salesy, but truly this is a game changer for myself. I do eat meat, but I was vegetarian for 15 years, so I sometimes go through these periods where I'm just not super into meat, but I'm trying to hit my protein goals. This is a game changer for me. My brownie bowl, I use 1.5 scoops, so it's high in protein. The other thing I've been doing is veggie burgers too, which are a good source of protein. They're complete protein when you combine like the beans and the rice, give you a complete protein, so you're gonna still be able to gain muscle. But truly, for someone who's vegetarian looking to gain muscle, same rules are gonna apply. You know, you have to be eating adequate calories, and you need to be training hard in the gym. I would suggest you really focus on what you're doing in the gym, kind of get a consistent lifting plan together. Don't change it week by week. Have a set lifting schedule. Do the same lifts each week and see if you're progressing with how much you're lifting. And that should assist in building muscle if you are eating enough. Being vegetarian, I think it's still very, very easy to get enough protein in the diet, get enough carbs, get enough fats, and usually vegetarians are more mindful eaters in terms of making sure they're getting nutrient-dense foods in. So I think you're in good shape. Just make sure you're focusing on continuing to push yourself in the gym. Get some ProVitam if you need it. Next question says, I'd love to learn more about how your diet can affect your blood work. You hear a lot of competitors who have abnormal blood work after competing as a result of dieting down for so long. So I'd love to hear your take on how and if this can be prevented through the diet, and then how you can come back from it. This is a great question. You really do lately hear a lot of competitors, probably like the past 2 years, claim metabolic damage from competing or thyroid issues, hormonal imbalances. You just kind of generally see that on social media from prepping and from maintaining such a low level of body fat, particularly for females, for an extended period of time, which we know is unhealthy. Our body is not equipped to be at that low level of body fat. If you get to a point where you're not having your menstrual cycle anymore, that's a big red flag that things hormonally are not functioning correctly. How can you prevent this? Well, I think the first thing I would suggest, if you are truly someone concerned with your health and want to compete, start with your baseline. Go to the doctor, get some blood work done, make sure you're in a healthy spot before you compete. I think that's something people just don't do. They want to compete because they want to compete. I get that. But we're now seeing some of the health disadvantages that come along with that. So first, make sure you're actually in a healthy spot physiologically and mentally before you compete. That will make a world of a difference with how your health is post-show. The other thing I can say too is don't go into a prep where you do have to go to such major extremes. Now, prep is extreme no matter how genetically gifted you are going into it. I'm not saying that it's not, but if you are in a good place where you don't have to go so extreme so quick, that will make a difference, right? So if I'm going into a prep, for example, knowing that I'm 30 pounds away from my usual stage weight and I want to compete in 3 months, that's not smart for me. That means I'm going to have to be so strict, so extreme from the get-go and the entire time without fail in order to try to shred away all that body fat. Versus if you're someone that's like maybe 5-10 pounds from an estimated stage weight, you're hopefully not going to have to go to such extremes. Also, giving yourself enough time to train to go into a bodybuilding show, that doesn't have to be rushed. It shouldn't be rushed in effort to not go so extreme. Hopefully that can help. But what I do want to say is, it's hard to tease out. It's hard to tease out sometimes if some of the health issues are caused from competing or were there other factors there that played into it. I love competing. I'm not someone who's going to sit here and bash it. I just think we need to be careful with our health and knowing where we're at mentally and physically before going into a prep. That will save you a world of hurt because the post-show, it's real, folks. And that's where shit gets really, really hard in that post-show. And I think sometimes more damage can be done in the post-show world. I think this is going to be the last question we are going to do. How long does it take to lose weight after antidepressants? And have you worked with clients with this problem? Really struggling over here, especially with the way it is impacting my self-esteem, even tapering off the meds. Yeah, I have a lot of experience. That's how I started out, was working at a psychiatric center. I still work there, but the patients I worked with were all on antidepressants, psychotropic medications, which have crazy impacts on the weight, and not just your weight. Certain medications actually alter your hormones. So you could literally you could not change a thing. You could not change your exercise, your intake, and those medications alter your hormones in such a way that patients would gain substantial amounts of weight, where I would have patients in a healthy weight range become obese in a matter of months. It's really, really challenging, and you have to do a risk-benefit analysis here where, I saw folks that wanted to go off their medications to lose the weight, and you really have to prioritize what do I focus on first, my mental health versus my physical health. It's a really challenging thing. In terms of tapering off the medication and being able to lose that weight, it's probably going to take just as long as it took you that the weight came on, maybe even longer. Going on and off of medications like that, again, can alter your hormone levels. So you really don't want to be too reactive where you're putting your body through these extremes to try to lose weight. You really want to get your body back to some kind of homeostasis. And I can't give you a great answer how long that's going to take. It's going to depend on the person. It's going to depend on how long you're on that medication for, what you're doing now. All I can say is be patient with it. Be patient with yourself. and just keep chipping away at it. It can be really, really tough and devastating to gain weight, especially from medications that you truly need for your mental health. So I just encourage you, or anyone, and I'm a dietitian, but if you need medication for your mental health, focus on that. If you have found a medication that works for you to make you feel healthy mentally, then stay on that medication. You know, you can work with someone to help with your weight problems if that occurs after the fact, but I do think mental health has to be prioritized. It's really, really challenging, but it's gotta be. All right, guys, that is gonna conclude this episode of Bite Size Bits. I hope you enjoyed and maybe learned a little something. Don't forget to like this video if you wanna see more Bite Size Bits videos, and slide on into my DMs or ask me a question below that you would like to see answered in the next video. I will see you guys then. Bye, guys. Bye. Bye-bye now. Bye.